Hello, everybody, and thank you for taking out the time to come to our webinar this evening that centers around bridging, celebrating your move to the next Girl Scout level. I'll be your presenter this evening. My name is Sylvia Steverak-Pruden. For those of you that haven't attended a webinar before, I just wanted to give you some information. Everybody is currently on mute. In order to prevent any feedback and background noise. This webinar is being recorded, and a link to review the webinar will be posted on the Girl Scouts at Home section of the Girl Scouts of Central Maryland website. We're going to pause periodically throughout the webinar to address questions in the chat log, and I'll be stopping where there's that sign, that blue sign. So if you're new to this webinar, you can also type a message in or a question, or you can use an emoticon to add a smiley face or give me a thumbs up or raise your hand. So I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. So please enter something in the chat bar or give me a thumbs up so I know that you can hear. So we will get started. We're going to talk a little bit about bridging basics first. I'm going to give you a run through of kind of 5 easy steps to make sure that you have a very good bridging and a good experience for your girls as well as their parents and families. So I'm first going to talk a little bit about bridging resources that there may be. The Girl Guide to Girl Scouting, there is some information in there regarding bridging. It also has links to all the bridging awards, so that make sure that you check out that book if you like a hard copy version. There's also a Girl Scout bridging guide that can be found on the Girl Scouts of the USA webpage, as well as there's always some interesting articles on the Girl Scout blog. So bridging is an important transition in a Girl Scout life. It's celebrating that moment when you're leaving one program level behind and you kind of take an assessment of the things that you have done and then get yourself ready for new adventures. And with Girl Scouts, that includes new responsibilities. Celebrating this change should be fun and memorable for everyone involved, and it should be personal for your troop or your group that you are bridging with. Most of all, it should be designed by the girls in a true adult girl partnership. So just as a review, we have 6 levels of Girl Scouts in the leadership experience. We, as you know, Daisy, Brownie, Junior Cadet, Senior Ambassador, and all provide a bridging area from when Daisies move to Brownies or Brownies to Juniors, Juniors to Cadets, Cadets to Seniors, Seniors to Ambassadors, and that last step for a girl, Ambassador to an adult. Do we have any questions at this point in time? Steps. The first thing to do when you're setting up when you're thinking about having a bridging ceremony is really talk with the girls and get them their input on what they would like to see as part of this momentous occasion. Also, it's great that for you to take the time to have them earn their Girl Scout Bridging Award. There's 2 steps that are involved, and it also prepares them for their next level of Girl Scouting. And then you should get together with the girls to plan the bridging ceremonies. We'll go into this a little bit further, so I'm not going to read this side. But generally, there's 3 main sections for a bridging ceremony: an opening, the main section, and the closing. And you want to make sure that you gather your materials, whether it's for the actual bridging ceremony or the insignia that you need. You want to make sure that you can have that available and ready to go when the bridging ceremony happens. And then you want to hold the ceremonies, making sure that your girls are taking a leading role in running the ceremonies. And as your girls get older, their participation will increase. We have that question stopping point. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Bridging Awards. So most Girl Scouts choose to earn the Bridging Award for their level. Earning the award offers a chance for them to take a look back on what they've accomplished and to share them with the younger girls. And also it enables them to look to the future and get to know what Girl Scouting next year will bring. Each level of Girl Scouting has its own unique Bridging Award and patch. So the steps to earning the Bridging Award is the step number 1 is pass it on. Step number 2 is look ahead. And step number 3 is plan the ceremony. And we'll be touching on those a little bit further. And when Daisy's bridged to Brownies, there's some unique opportunities depending on the troop makeup. So the question that I get often is, how do Daisies reach out to younger Daisies? And so this is sometimes a little bit difficult. If you have a troop that only has first grade Daisies in it, and you're getting ready to bridge to Brownies, and you don't have any younger girls in your troop, well, that might be a good time to reach out to your service unit manager, who may be able to connect you with a group of younger Daisies. Oftentimes in the spring, we have recruitment events. And so you may have some new Daisies that are in your service unit that you might not know about yet. And so this would be a good opportunity to connect with your service unit to find out if you've got any new Daisies, and then reach out to them. If we also know that we do recruiting in the fall, and we get a lot of new Daisies in the fall. And so maybe a unique idea for reaching out to younger Daisies would be for the current Daisies maybe to color a picture and write a little note about what it was like for them to be a Daisy. And so that way, when the new Daisies are forming together as a troop, that can be one of their first activities, to get these secret notes from Daisies that were there before. So that could be kind of fun as well. So you guys can be creative in that aspect if you don't have Daisies in your younger Daisies in your service unit. And I wanted to bring up the bridging fly up to juniors, because when Brownies fly up to juniors, they have a special insignia that they get. As long as they were a Brownie Girl Scout and they're flying up to juniors, they will get that Brownie Girl Scout wings. And it only happens at the Brownie level. This is a Girl Scout tradition that's been around since 1927. And they've been receiving these wings when they bridge ever since then. In 1927, the wings didn't look like they look like now. They were multicolored, and at some point in time in 1935, they settled on this design, and that's what we have had moving forward. Additionally, shown here is the membership star and the bridging award. Now, wait, let me go back one more. The reason why I have the green one here is that many troops award their membership star at the end of the year. And so the membership star goes on that little circle, and that would indicate that they had just finished a year of Brownies. When I was a troop leader and our girls did bridging, we would put the bridge on one side of the bridging certificate and the membership pin on the other. And that way, hopefully that all made it home, so it would make it onto their new vest. So the older girl levels, whether they be junior, cadet, senior, or ambassador, also have membership pins with those backings on it. And so those are the different colors that they have. And as you notice, their bridging arcs are a little bit similar, but they're unique for each level. And once a girl becomes a Girl Scout ambassador, when she bridges to adults. And when she bridges, instead of getting an arc, she gets this multicolored pin. So we're going to talk a little bit about bridging insignia, because one of the questions that we always get is what goes where and what moves when. And so I wanted just to take a moment to talk about some local customs here. I made a mention that when I did bridging, we always gave out the membership stars at the end of the year. Now, if you're in a service unit and everyone in your service unit is giving out membership stars at the beginning of the year, go ahead, give them the membership stars at the beginning of the year. So kind of follow your local customs. And, speaking of local customs, sometimes when girls bridge, maybe they get their new brownie pin. Some troops may wait and give it at rededication. And so the membership pin as well for the girls at the older level. The World Trefoil pin, there are local customs around that as well. And so if you want to give one of those out, you can on the pin tab so that it would look the brownie pin, the World Trefoil pin on the pin tab. But oftentimes people wait until there's a World Thinking Day event in order to give the World Trefoil pin. So I just wanted to kind of find out what the customs are in your service unit. And it's a good rule of thumb to follow those. But really, there's no right or wrong. So here is what moves from uniform to uniform. So if you have a daisy tunic and you're going to a brownie vest or sash, the things that move up would be your World Association pin and your membership stars with the backings. At the brownie level, and if you're going from brownies to juniors, again, the same thing, the World Association pin and the membership star. And the reason is that other pins don't move is because the daisy has a special daisy membership pin. The brownie has their own brownie membership pin. And by the time you get to junior, going up to cadet, you will receive your final membership pin. And so what moves to the cadet vest would be the World Trefoil pin, your membership stars, the brownie fly up wings if they were a brownie, if they earned the bronze award, and then lastly their membership pin. And so once a girl gets a cadet sash or vest, oftentimes they keep them through the end of their Girl Scout career. Sometimes as the girls get older after cadets, they may switch from a vest to a sash. I see that very common practice with many girls. But if they're going to keep their vest and sash, then there's really nothing to move or remove, and everything just stays on there. And if they do, then they can move their bronze and their silver onto their senior vest or sash. Once an ambassador moves up to adult, instead of wearing a vest, they wear an adult uniform. And the things that can move to the adult uniform would be, again, the World Trefoil pin and the membership pin on a different colored pin tab now, as well as their gold award and their bridge to adult pin. So I wanted just to let you know there are some easy bridging kits that are available at the Girl Scout store, and it would include a membership star, a certificate, their bridging arc, and this particular kit has a fun patch for bridging and a pencil that would be for the next level, kind of a cute little gift. Do we have any questions at this point in time? Okay, someone asked how long should the ceremony last, and we'll be getting into the ceremony in a bit, and I hope to answer that question for you. Because we're moving right into ceremonies now. A bridging ceremony can be very simple or elaborate, and remember that it's up to the group to plan the ceremony. So some of the things that you might think about a bridging ceremony is, when will you hold the ceremony? Things may be changing up a little bit this year, so I've offered a number of different options. In the spring, you can definitely do one in the spring, provided that we are given the all clear in order to gather together. If not, possibly over the summer. Maybe you have a special camping trip and you want to do bridging there. Or if you're lucky enough to be able to travel during summer to a special location, maybe you might want to do it then. I've heard several older girl troops plan trips to Savannah to take part in a bridging ceremony in the gardens there. So all of these are options for when you hold the ceremony. Some places hold them routinely in the fall because the Girl Scout year technically doesn't start until October 1st, and oftentimes girls need that time during the summer to finish up on awards and things. And we're going to add in a little one here that probably never once thought before, but are thinking about now. And we can always hold a bridging ceremony virtually. So where will we hold the ceremony? Well, if you're going to have it at your meeting location, that's one option. Or you can think about other locations. So maybe you have it someplace different, inside or outside, or if you're traveling at that travel destination like we talked about. You're going to have to make the necessary arrangement if it's not going to be at your normal meeting location. You want to think about who's going to attend. Is this going to be your troop, or maybe you'll have some individually registered girls at your level come? Maybe there's some Juliets in your service unit you would like to invite to the bridging ceremony. Are there going to be other troops that come? Are you in a service unit that has maybe clusters, which are groups of troops, and maybe you're going to all work together to do a bridging ceremony? Are you going to have the parents come, or families, or are there any other special guests that you want to invite? If you have someone in the service unit, another troop leader might want to come, especially if she's worked closely with your troop. You can also hold service unit bridging ceremonies. And I guess this is dependent on the size and the location, and provided that the location can hold the number of guests and individuals that would be coming to your event. So the next kind of questions are, how will we perform the ceremony and what will we need? And so this is really where the ceremony planning comes in, that the girls will talk about how they'll perform the ceremony, and they'll also be making the list of what it is that they need. And so this will also dictate how long the ceremony is. Ideally, maybe at a daisy level, you might want a little bit shorter of a ceremony because they have less of an attention span. But as the girls get older, they might have that really fun idea, and it might just take a little bit longer. So here's some of the things that you can include in a bridging ceremony. Does every single bridging ceremony have to have this? No, but it is a formal occasion, and oftentimes many of these are components of a bridging ceremony. So you might want to open with the flag ceremony or some other kind of opening. A reciting of the Girl Scout promise and law is also a great way to start the ceremony. Most bridgings cross a bridge of some kind, and the bridging kind of just often it's really literally the girls like going into the future, and so there's often that bridge isn't involved, and so it's both physical and symbolic. And if you don't have a bridge, that's fine. One year when we didn't have access to a bridge, we took a blue tablecloth and made it into water and cut a strip down the middle and parted the water. So that was our imaginary bridge. And so you didn't really have to have a big bridge like you see on Pinterest, but you can also have imaginary bridges. So that's a key component of a bridging ceremony. But you can also add other things like the Girl Scout handshake. So oftentimes the girl crosses the bridge and is either met by girls of her new level at the other side of the bridge or her new troop leader, and then they perform the Girl Scout handshake. Oftentimes this is where any certificates, patches, or other awards are given, and then you want to end the ceremony in some way. We already talked about the Girl Scout handshake, and so other things is that sometimes I read about one troop whose tradition was to they at the end of their ceremony they did a friendship squeeze, and the audience, if there was a Girl Scout, someone who has been a Girl Scout in the audience, they would come and they would join in that closing circle. It's a great time to sing a Girl Scout song, and also after the ceremony, it's, you might want to make it a celebration. Are you going to serve refreshments? Is there going to be a cake? Will it be rainbow colored cupcakes, or are you going to have a potluck? So these are all things that the girls can decide when they're planning the ceremony. Oftentimes it's an opportunity for girls to share their favorite Girl Scout memories or pictures. So perhaps if it's a junior troop and they're bridging to cadets, maybe they'll have some boards up that will talk about their Bronze Award project and the things that they did and the pictures that they took while they were working on it. And so it's also a good time to share plans for next year. You've got all the parents there. They're watching their girls, moving from one level to the other. You can say, as junior girls or as cadet Girl Scouts, we're really excited. The girls are already talking about this, this, and this. And it's a way to keep the parents involved and intrigued about the next upcoming year. And it's a great time for girls and leaders to wear their Girl Scout uniform. Suggestions for successful bridging ceremonies. Again, I'm going to say, make sure that the girls are involved in the decision-making and planning of the ceremonies. As the girls get older, let them take on more responsibility. If family and friends are invited, the girls can definitely distribute invitations. Are you including another troop? Make sure that they know of when you're going to have your bridging ceremony and what their roles would be as well. It's always really good to practice. Girls are confident that they know, but by the time bridging, it's an exciting day for them, and sometimes they lose their cues. So practice does help along the way. So you want to make sure that you're going to gather your supplies well ahead of time. And you're going to want to remind the girls' parents and guardians that uniform need to be ready for the ceremony. Now, at bridging, it's kind of evolved over the years that the girls will shed their old vest at the end of the bridge and put on their new vest. Now, oftentimes that doesn't have to happen that way. If you didn't have a chance to get all the girl vests, or they were out of some components, you can always, now that we have that Girl Scout scarf, they can put on the next level scarf, and that might be a lot easier than getting those vests ready prior to the ceremony. So make sure that girls have copies of speaking parts or song lyrics for the girls. And if you're going to ask the guests to sing, they can put that on the back of the guide for the ceremony if you're going to provide one of those. The other thing is that I found is that if you're going to have girls do speaking parts, that at that practice session, you give them a card that's got their speaking part on it. Now, they will take this home and you're going to ask them to bring it back, but inevitably one won't be there. So I always used to make 2 sets of cards. One I would keep in just for that case scenario, or, if there was an unfortunate incident and it got damaged and they couldn't read it anymore, I always had a spare and the ceremony could go on. So we're at one of those stopping points, and I see some questions in the chat log. So give me a moment to take a look at that. Do you keep adding a membership pin or just change the disc? So I think you're talking about the membership stars. And so by the time a girl has been through all of her levels of Girl Scouts, she will have a pin and that disc in the backing that she could display on her uniforms. And if she replaces those with a 5-year pin, then she removes the first 5 years worth of membership stars. But a girl could have 12 different membership stars with all the different colors on her vest as she graduates to an adult. So I think that was the question that you were asking. And if I didn't answer that, just type in a clarification for me, please. Okay, I really like this picture because this troop didn't have a bridge, so they made their own. And it doesn't have to be necessarily on the floor. It could be up at the top, because doesn't this really look like a bridge that the girls are going through? I thought that was really cute and wanted to include it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about virtual bridging. I don't know if that's something that you all have been thinking about, but I've got some guidelines for us to follow, and let's take a look at those. First thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you talk with the families regarding planning of a virtual ceremony. You want to make sure that everyone's available and can attend and do have the capabilities of attending a virtual ceremony. You're going to want to choose a date and a time and a format for the virtual bridging ceremony, commonly like you would do for a regular ceremony. You want to plan a ceremony that fits your troop's personality, and again, include the girls in the process. Once you guys have this, once the leaders have talked with the families and and settle on a date and a time, then really the girls can have at it and make their ceremony special. So the girls give the girls a chance how they would like to help with the ceremony. Will there be will they be doing speaking parts, or are you going to do a play, and do you have to act out things? It's virtual, so it's a little bit different than all being in one room, but there's no reason why everyone can't be together at the same time. And so obviously you want to make sure that your girls can handle what they're volunteering for. So you want to plan what the virtual ceremony is going to look like. Which video or audio conferencing tool will you be using? Will you be using Zoom? Are you going to use Google Hangouts? Are you going to do a Facebook Live? I don't know how that would work. But anyways, keep these options open to make sure that you explore them fully so that you know what to expect when the bridging ceremony happens. Are you going to have the girls decorate their home for part of the ceremony? But you're going to, again, check with the parents so they get approval on the decorating plans, because, the girls can have some really good ideas, and we just want to make sure the parents agree with that. So after you got everything together and you know who's going to be doing what section, you can host your virtual bridging ceremony. You want to make sure that you have a reliable internet connection, and you might want to, if you have a dog, make sure he's not barking in the background so that actually everybody can hear and there's no distractions. We want everyone to focus on the girls and their accomplishments. So when you're done, congratulations, you did it. And I'm sure your troop had an awesome bridging experience. So just one note, there will be a safety activity checkpoints for virtual meetings. It will be released shortly. Look for it to come within the next week or so. Just a little bit about preparing your Girl Scout troop to bridge to the next level. Really, the bridging ceremony is a great retention tool, and I just want to share a couple of statistics that I was able to find this afternoon regarding bridging and its importance. So Girl Scout retention plummets 10% when the juniors bridge to cadets. Many girls that enter middle school are unsure if there's even Girl Scouts available to them. 50% of new girls do not renew their membership or go to the next level. So those are some kind of stunning facts, and that's really one of the reasons why bridging is so important. It is that if you're following the bridging award requirements, those girls that are unsure, maybe they don't like change. They're not sure about going to the next level because they don't know what it's all about. And so by working through those bridging requirements, they get to see what it's like to be at that next level. They may get to see girls that they'll be interacting with, and that'll provide some ease for them. On the other hand, we have girls that are like really looking for some new things, and they're excited to get to know new people, and they've always wanted to do that one activity. Then now they're old enough to do that. So they want to look for something that they're looking forward to. So that just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're going through that bridging award requirements. And it's really a way to get the girls engaged and keep them engaged at going to the next level. And at this point in time, if you're moving up with your girls and you're bridging as well to a new Girl Scout level, there's leader training that should be taken. And right now we only have online availability for training. And so if you were a junior leader, if you were a Brownie leader and next year you're going to be a junior leader, you're going to want to take that junior level training. Now, if you have someone that's joining your leadership team, then they're going to have to take all the training, which would be Introduction to Girl Scouting 101, and then that level training, whatever is appropriate. You register for the trainings through the event registration portal, kind of like where you would sign up for a Girl Scout event or an activity. When you take this training, you're going to find out how to include the girl-adult partnership at your new level. You're going to get familiar with new level programming, and there's always if you're at a live event in the future, there's always a great sharing of information. And so just a little bit about a girl-adult partnership. And so if you're used to working with Girl Scout daisies and then you go to Girl Scout brownies, you have to let the girls take a little bit more responsibility in their troop. And as you see, it kind of steps up here so that once you have girls that are at grades 9 through 12, at this point in time, the girls are running their meetings, they're planning their activities, they're setting the stage of the things that they want to do. And really, the leader's just there to make sure that they're safe, to write any checks, and that's about it, and to offer assistance as needed. We can start at the daisy level with those small little tasks. What are they going to serve? Are we going to serve cakes or are we going to serve cupcakes at our bridging ceremony? Daisies can make that decision. Brownies might have a little bit more responsibility where they might say, oh, for our bridging, we want to do it outside and we want to have a cookout, or we want to have a potluck. And so they might then develop a way how we're going to make sure that we have different food at the potluck. And so that would be great things for them to figure out how they would assign a balanced meal at that area for that particular ceremony. And as the girls move up, they take on additional responsibility starting on that, based on that base that they had as a daisy, and they just keep on building as they go through. This is often hard when a leader is leaving a level that needed more hand-holding and going to a level that needs less. And now I'd just like to share a couple of GSUSA events that we've got some information that's just coming out. And so I just wanted you to know that they're available and there'll be more information coming. So GSUSA is going to do a fun year-end celebration event. It's going to be based in social media. It would be a fun event. It's great for girls that are current Girl Scouts to go to. It's also great for new girls that are just joining the organization. There's going to be a special host and some guest performances. And I understand it's supposed to be really fun. And we're just waiting to get more information and can't wait to see what they're putting together for this. Additionally, National Bridging Week, which was in May, but due to the turn of events that they have canceled that week in May. And so they'll be moving it to August 1 through 8. And so at this point in time, the hope is that Girl Scouts all over the United States will concentrate their bridging activities. If needed, there's going to be a series of virtual events, but if you can have, if we're able to have a regular bridging ceremony like we've had in the past, you can do that as well. Again, this is one of those, more information is coming, but we just wanted to let you know of that. All right, so does anybody have any additional questions? I don't see very many things coming in the chat log. So I'll just give a second for those to come in, and I'll be back with you in a moment. On membership stars. So as a girl is a daisy, she would have 2 membership stars and 2 backings, and that would, both of those would be on her vest to represent the 2 years she was a Girl Scout daisy. When she becomes a brownie, she takes those 2 blue stars, the stars with the blue discs on it, and moves it to her brownie vest. When she becomes a brownie, she'll get that colored disc and another membership star, so that as she goes through the years, those keep on adding up. So you would at some point in time, you might have 10 stars and a 5-year pin to designate your time as a girl in Girl Scouting. I hope that answers your question. And oh, good. I think you got it. And so again, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm glad to see so many people here attending this webinar. And if you have any questions that you think of later on, and I'm no longer here, just send in your question to MemberCare, and we will be very happy to answer it. So thank you, and stay safe. And I hope to see you next month in the series of webinars that we'll be offering.